Hello, I'm Michael Redmond, professional Go player. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some basic life and death on the second line. So people will tell you that it's bad to play on the second line. And in fact, I have said that in previous videos. It is in general bad to play on the second line, especially towards the beginning of the game. That said, as the board fills up, people will play important points on the third and fourth lines, and in the end you'll find yourself playing on the second line sometimes. In this diagram that we're looking at right now, black has crawled a lot on the second line. Crawling on the second line and being surrounded like this, in general, that's also considered bad, but sometimes it just happens. So there are exceptions to the rule that says you shouldn't do it, and it always helps to know how this is supposed to turn out. So there's some things that are worth remembering about this. So we have a black group here, which has only 6 stones in a line. So when you're crawling on the second line, it's pretty likely that you'll have a number of stones since you've crawled. They're lined up like this. And it helps to know how many times you have to crawl in order to get a life. Sometimes in actual play, it's hard to calculate that, so it's good to know in advance. So what people say in Japan is 6 die and 8 live. So that's rokushi hasho in Japanese. And this is the example of the dead 6 shape. So this is 6. They don't have enough space to make a life. So we'll try with black playing the first move here. And black's going to try to expand the space. What white has to do in such a position is to decrease the amount of space black has. So this is a kind of a basic idea that you have in life and death situations. And then when black has surrounded the space, finally white has to find a vital point, which is here, which stops black from making 2 eyes. So this is a basic life and death problem, but it does show the basic techniques of life and death in actual games, in that white has reduced black space and then finally played the key point. That's a pattern that you see in most situations like this. So let's go back to the beginning and have black trying the other way. It doesn't make any difference. So if black plays on this side, then white's going to reduce from this side and here. So you see me leaving some white stones in Atari. Capturing this stone is not going to make a real life for black. So white just covers there, and that black stone is an Atari. The black stone at A9 is an Atari, and it's not a real eye. So black's dead in this shape. So that was the dead 6 shape. So I said 6 is dead and 8 is alive. So let's take a look at 7, which is in between. And so they don't say about this, but actually with 7, it depends on who plays first. So first we'll have black play the first move. Black will expand the size of black's territory like this. It's important to have the borderline straight instead of diagonal. And white will decrease black's space. But when black's territory is finally defined with a complete borderline down to the first line, black has a line of 4 points. So this straight line of 4 points is a live shape. Even if white comes inside, black can divide it into 2. So this is another basic life and death. Again, you see white trying the strategy of reducing black space and trying to find a vital point. The problem here was that at this stage there were 2 vital points. So if white played this side, black would have played the other side. So 1 and 2 were interchangeable, or as we say in Japanese, they were miai. And that's a term that's used in English also. So just remember that term, miai. Let's see what happens if white plays first then. So if white plays first, white's going to choose one of these 2 moves, either here, or white can play from the other side here. It doesn't make any difference, provided white is reducing black's space. And if black covers here, white will play on the other side. So again, white can afford to leave these stones in Atari, because even though black can capture them later, it won't make an eye. So even if black captures here, white can cover, and that's a false eye. So that was another dead shape. If white had played first, and if black had played first, it was alive. So now let's look at the 8-stone shape. This 8-stone shape is now a living shape. So black has enough room that black can leave this, and it's going to be alive. White can play here to reduce black's space. Again, this is the correct tactic for white if white was going to be able to kill it. but it's too much space now. So at this point, we have the hopefully familiar 4-point shape. If white plays one of the key points, black can play the other, dividing it into two eyes. Or if white plays the other way, black can play here, and this is alive too. Okay, so this is just a little bit more fun. It's an interesting shape. Not that it's completely unusual, but it does take a bit more calculation maybe. Let's do it the wrong way first. So if black plays here, which is probably the intuitive move, connecting black's stones. So black has 7 stones in a row here. As I said, it depends on who plays first. It's white's turn. White's going to kill this. Reducing from the outside and killing it like this. And you might note that white finally took the vital point. Vital points are important. So we go back to the beginning here. Once we know what the vital point is, it's worthwhile thinking about taking it. So this is another kind of a hint that can be useful in general when you're thinking about life and death, is that the first thing, it's worth thinking about expanding your territory, which is what this move is doing. And throughout the whole sequence, black was trying to expand the territory, and it wasn't good enough. So this is a good first idea if you're trying to calculate a position like this. And the second thing to think about is if expanding it didn't work, you play the vital point. And we already know what the vital point is because white played it in this diagram. So we're going to go there and have black play this point. In this case, this is going to work. So white can play out from above. White could not play inside here because black would just capture that. So that would not be successful for white. So white plays here, black connects. And it's already starting to look like black has it divided into 2 spaces. So this was a slightly unusual example of where taking the vital point was more important than expanding the territory. Okay, now I'm going to change the scene just a little bit and talk about lines of stones in the corner. In the corner it's slightly different because of the special properties of the corner. Black actually has some extra space. So in this diagram, black only has 5 stones in a row, but will have enough space to live if black plays first. So let's have black play here, expanding the territory. And it's sort of recognizable that this is, again, the 4-point shape, where if white plays inside, black can take the other vital point and divide it into 2. Or if white plays the other way, then black will be able to play on this side, and it's the same thing. In this case, it would have worked for black to play the vital point also. So this is a vital point that black could have played, and this would have been alive too. The basic 2-eye shape, although it's actually better to make a bigger territory. Okay, so now we have the 6-stone shape, which is in the corner. It is alive as it stands. So we'll have white play first, and white tries to make it smaller, the space, and black will cover to keep as much space as possible. Black has the 4-point shape, and it's alive. Same pattern as before. If white plays from the other side, black can play from this side, and divide it into 2 eyes. So that's the basic 2-eye shape. Okay, so now we have a final diagram, which is slightly unusual, but it does resemble a previous diagram that I've done before. So let's start with the bad answers for black. We'll say it's black's turn. As I said before, one thing that you can think about if you don't know this or the answer already is your first idea might be to expand the space, and that's usually a good strategy. I'm going to show you why it doesn't work in this case. So, for instance, expanding the space in the corner is one thing you can think about. But wedging here on the second line, that was a vital point that took away black's eye space. So when white has played this marked stone, black is eventually going to be forced to connect these 2 points and will not have enough room for eyes. So if we want to continue with black, maybe black's going to play here, in which case white can take away that eye at A7. So black doesn't have an eye at A7 or A6 and only has 1 eye in the corner. Or if black tries to expand like this, white will throw in here, and black has to take it. That's already a false eye, but if white plays an Atari here, black can't even connect those 5 stones. So obviously this is not working for black. Going back to the beginning, Another move that would be sort of intuitive would be to connect the black stones straightly like this. But this, in essence, it becomes a side position when white plays here and takes away the corner, and black only has 6 stones in a line. So this is not going to be enough room to live. And finally, white plays the key point to kill it. So again, now we have learned from these two diagrams, assuming that you tried to read it out or calculate it in this order, we've found that expanding black space or trying to expand black space did not work. We also found out that A4, which white played here, was the vital point that white finally had to play. And so that sort of leads us to, logically, to this move. So this move was the correct move, and black has already divided the space into 2, like this. So black has an eye at A3, and another eye here at A5. So that was the basic life and death on the second line. It helps to know that 6 dies and 8 lives on the second line if you're curling on the second line on the side, and that it's slightly different in the corner. So those are 2 things I'd like people to take away from this video. Thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you next time at my channel.